What's up, my friends? John Baruti. Baruti Success. This week we're coming at you and I'm telling you how I made my first $1 million. That's right, my first $1 million. Let's get into it. So, you want to know how I made my first million? Well, so do I, Sally. I do too. Because, it goes so fast, you don't remember a lot, to be honest with you. It's freaking probably 25 years ago. Here's the story. So basically, I went to Seton Hall. And at Seton Hall, I went to the business school of Stillman Business School to get a finance degree. And if you watch the channel for 1 or 2 episodes, you know that. So, unfortunately, I didn't make my first million by getting together with my roommate, getting in our small little dorm, and figuring out some internet thingy-majiggy or some computer thingy-majiggy. Yeah, I was disappointed about that. Not that we didn't try, but I'm not that smart. So, in order to make the first million, I had to do something I knew. In order to get myself through school, I drove a bread truck. That's right, a bread truck. I'd get up at 3 a.m. in the morning and I'd drive all night and I would deliver bread to all Jersey Shore restaurants, delis, bodegas, and then I would go to school during the day. And I did that basically for 4 years to make my way through school. The thing is, this beautiful job paid my bills. It was absolutely important to have this job. The only way I got through school. Yes, I had many other jobs, some of them pretty cool. I drove exotic cars all over the Eastern Coast, bounced, worked on the boardwalk. I did a lot of stuff. But the mainstay, how I made most of my money to get through school, was this bread route. Remember, it's important, so put it in the back of your head. Fast forward, graduating, not having the greatest luck in the world finding a job, me and my dad got together and formed a small little company. We did food. We imported it and I went and sold it and I put it on, I didn't put it on the bread truck, but basically the same route that I did with the bread, I went and sold all those people with the Italian products that we would get out of Italy. It was a pretty cool gig, right? Because I already knew the people, already talking to them. And that's how me and my dad started our small little business. That's how I made my first 100,000. Actually, that wasn't how it was the bread route, but again, I digress. In the notes, you'll see my video on how I made my first 100K. Okay? That kind of all plays into this whole thing. But unfortunately for me, my dad passed away at 49. I was 23, and I had to sell that business, and I was poop out of luck. My family owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had to figure it out fast, so I went to my friend who owned the route that I was driving from, asked him if I could buy a portion of the route, and he said, yippity dippy, yes you can. So I went ahead and I bought half of that route. And again, that's part of how I made my first 100K. I'm just trying to fill you in here. Okay, so when my dad passed away, my mom and my dad also owned an Italian restaurant. So he was operating the Italian restaurant, and me and him had the side business of the Italian distribution, okay? Unfortunately, my dad was everything to that restaurant. He was the butcher, the baker, truly the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. So when he passed away, he never trained anybody, and I didn't want to do it, unfortunately. But he didn't train anybody how to operate the restaurant. No, he was the chef, he was everything, right? We had cooks, but we didn't have anybody that could cook to my dad's caliber. So we had to shut the restaurant down. But we own the property, so we didn't want to lose this property. Everybody was telling us to sell it, but I convinced my mother not to because I knew it was a bad time and property value, kind of like right now, going to the pooper. So I knew the property would be valued very much higher years ahead, so we looked for someone to lease it. We got a restaurant to come in and lease the restaurant. So that was off our hands. We didn't have to worry about the mortgage. It was getting paid from the tenant, the restaurant that operated it. Okay, so now you're caught up on that whole, my mom and dad owning a restaurant and they own the building. Okay, because that's important for this next part. A few years go by, knocking it out of the park with the distribution of the bread, and the people that were leasing the restaurant came to us and they didn't want to lease it anymore. They wanted to, their lease was up and they didn't want to renew. So I went to my mom and said, that's perfect. We're doing really well over here with with distributing. I want to build my own bakery. Yes, Sally, build my own bakery.
John, what are you thinking? You don't know anything about a bakery.
That's kind of what my mom reminded me. She sat me down and listen, my mom was my biggest cheerleader. You know, God bless that woman. She thought I could move mountains. You know, I never wanted to let her down. So I said, Ma, I want to build a bakery. And she's like, honey, you don't know anything about a bakery. I'm like, I know, but I'll learn. And it'll be really good. And we can put the bread on the bread routes and we can kind of combine it and it'll be really good. I promise. I swear. I won't screw it up. I promise. So my mom, being my mom, said, okay, honey, if you think you can do this. So what I did was I found a friend up in Newark that had quit the bakery that we were buying bread from, and he made his own small little bakery / bagel shop. And I asked him if I could come up several times a week to learn how to make bread and pastries and stuff. And he said, sure, come on up. So after the route, I would sleep a couple hours, go back up north, and bake bagels and bread and pastries with him, and he showed me the basics. And then I came back down, and during this time, we were renovating the restaurant. I was getting all the permits and all the, because I did a major renovation on my mom and dad's business. So we were waiting for the town approvals and all this stuff. But meanwhile, I was showing the people that were going to be my chefs and the cooks, what I learned. And we're all together trying to figure this all out. So long story short, I get through all the zoning and everything at the town. We kind of figure the bread out, and we open up to fanfare. The bread might not have been the best, okay? I'm putting it out there. It was me. It was my bakery. It was not great. It wasn't horrible, but it was not great. So fast forward probably a year or 2 years, about a year, we perfected it. I gotta be honest, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I was super happy with the bread, super happy with how we were making the baked goods. From there, we were putting this on the trucks and I was delivering it to the same customers I was delivering the other breads from the other bakeries. And because it was a great value and a great product. So the other bakeries, listen, they were around for years, these bakeries I was selling the bread. And it was excellent bread. But they were super expensive. And I could make the product so much cheaper. Was it the same exact caliber? No, but it was pretty damn close. And the value, the customers, the restaurants, bodegas, supermarkets, they were like, listen, if I could buy your stuff for this or their stuff for that, I'm gonna take your stuff for this. So long story short, we went to the moon. So now, still selling other bakeries' products because my bakery was small and I didn't wanna replace the whole product with our stuff. I wanted to make specialty good bread. So we could sell the mass produced stuff we could buy from the bakeries. The refined specialty stuff, focaccia, boule, an Italian boule with green olives in it, or Gaeta olives in it. We were making that stuff. And I gotta be honest, it was probably the smartest thing I did. And I tripled the profit on the bread because now we're making it. And basically, once you triple the profit, we increased the sales threefold from what we were doing. So basically, in a nutshell, that's how I made my first $1 million. So just to recap, I made my first $100,000 by buying a business. I bought the bread route, right? How I made my first $1 million is I built a business. I went and built a freaking bakery. Had no idea what I was doing, to be honest. It was sketchy there for a while. When we first opened the bakery, it was a restaurant and a bakery. The restaurant failed, that was horrible, but the bakery did tremendously well. So well that years later, 2006, I went and bought a 25,000 square foot building in Farmingdale. And we took the bakery, we moved it from Bricktown, where my mom and dad's place was, to the factory in Farmingdale, where it was when I sold the bakery, and we leased out the original bakery, where my mom and dad's restaurant, to a daycare center. So, we kept properties, I bought another property, we increased the bakery's sales tremendously, and our profits were up because we were baking our own product, and it raised our profit margin. So that, just so you know, is how I made my first $1 million. So we'll see you on the next one. I hope you like that one. Nice and short.
Loved it. Short. Yes. I love short ones. I knocked that one. I knocked it. I think. I don't know. Tell me if you like it.
We'll see you on the next one.